Now, 22 years ago, there was an organization that was founded, just like your idea. Someone saw a problem and wanted to fix a problem. A 26-year-old man in Compton, California, came up with a good idea. Now, 22 years later, over $2 billion invested in needing communities around the country, around the globe. Over 3 million individuals served. The list goes, over 35,000 active volunteers, over 5,000 partners. We have Operation Hope as we know it today. But what we're here to talk about is P5117. This is where we're going tomorrow. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring up Chairman, Founder, and CEO of Operation Hope, Mr. John O'Brien.
God is good, isn't he?
Yeah. All the time.
So check it out. That young man who just came up with my hero. That's what I told him. That's why I whispered in his ear. You are my hero. I mean, it makes me want to cry, man. I mean, don't get me all teary-eyed. I mean, he said, I didn't have a pencil. Hey. I'm going to sell you a pencil. I'm going to sell y'all a bunch of pencils. I'm going to make y'all pay for not having pencils. That's rainbows after storms, you know?
Chairman, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
Beige Honda Pilot, anybody's car? Beige Honda Pilot. There is a tow truck outside you're blocked in. Anyone?
That's all right, I needed time to get myself together. I mean, you really brought tears to my eyes, man. I mean, when I was, first of all, I'm going to make the formal announcement, but ladies and gentlemen, the daughter of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Bernice A. King, give her some love. So, when I was 10 years old, how old are you?
I'm 14.
When I was 10 years old, I was in Compton, California, and kids would detour past my house and go up to the liquor store to buy candy and be late for school. And I thought it was a travesty before God that my friends, my kids, my fellow students were being late for school, getting pink slips. And so I went up to the liquor store owner, Mr. Mack, it was Mack's liquor store, and I said, sir, you're selling the wrong kind of candy. He said, go away, little boy, I've got a college degree. I said, that's nice, I've got cavities. I'm telling you, you're selling the wrong kind of candy. Go away, little boy, I know candy's selling well. Sir, I'm 10 years old, I'm telling you, you're selling the wrong kind of candy. The only reason that you're doing well is you've got no competition in the neighborhood. Who wants to come to the liquor store to buy candy? So he dismissed me a third time. And finally, I bugged him long enough, and he said, how do I get you out of my hair? I said, well, hire me. So he hired me as a box boy. Box boys basically take the inventory in, take the inventory out of the boxes, cut it up, put the boxes flat, and stock the back end of the store. I didn't want to work in the front of the store. I didn't want to work at the cash register. I didn't want to work as a concierge. I didn't want to work at customer service. I wanted to work in the back with the inventory. Why? I want to know where he bought his candy. And then I want to know, another hero of the civil rights movement, I want to know how much he paid for his candy. I want to know what wholesale and retail meant. By the way, the reason I knew all this background is somebody came in my class when I was in Compton and taught me what was called home economics back then. Some of you remember that. They don't teach it anymore. And I remember a banker came in my classroom, he had a blue suit, white shirt, red tie. And I remember saying to him, man, what do you do for a living? He said, I'm a banker, what do you do? And I finance entrepreneurs. I said, I don't know what an entrepreneur is, but I want to be one. And I asked him, how'd you get rich legally? Because I was serious. How'd you get rich legally? Because every my neighborhood was a rap star, a drug dealer, or an athlete, or that's what their aspirations was. And I used to think that, by the way, want to be a rap star, an athlete, or a drug dealer, that was, you're dumb or you're stupid. Now I know these kids are brilliant because they're modeling what they see. The book, The Tipping Point, proves that there's 5% role models every community stabilizes. University of Illinois study. Not 80% role models, not 50% role models, not 10% role models. The cynic will say, oh, that's not possible. God made this so simple. and so achievable that anybody can believe it. 5% role model will stabilize any community. Why did I decide to be a businessman at 5 years old? My daddy was a businessman, so I became one. I saw the banker wear a suit, so I wanted to wear a suit. I saw him talk about entrepreneurship, I wanted to now become an entrepreneur. So people are role modeling. Why are you who you are? You saw somebody who represented that and said, I can do that too. And so when this guy told me that I was selling the wrong kind of, well, I told him he was selling the wrong kind of candy, and he dismissed me, that did nothing for me. An entrepreneur works 18 hours a day to keep from getting a job. He understands that success is going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. And understands that it's not what people call you, it's what you answer to that's important, and never answer out of your name. And has a self-esteem and a self-confidence that says, I am going to reimagine everything and create value. So, to put that practically, I left the liquor store, went home to my mother, asked her for $40, she said, I asked her 2 or 3 times, she said, no, by the way, if you want to get something out of your mother, you bug her for 3 weeks, 2 days, and 46 seconds. She finally gave me $40, not because she believed in me, but just because she wanted to get me off her back. She took me to Ira's food store. Why was Ira's food store? Because that's where the guy bought his candy. How did I know? It was on the side of the box. I went to Ira's food store in Compton, California, still there to this day, and told him I wanted to start a candy house. Nice little boy. Since the advantage you have, nice little boy. Young lady selling the jewelry, a nice little girl. So sure, here's some extra racks. You know, they give me some extra candy. I thought it was cute. I went home, set it up in the den of my house. My house was on the direct path to school. I'll make this story real short. I made $300 a week when I was 10 years old. And I put the liquor store out of the candy business. Then I found girls and lost the business and became a mistake. That's why I married. But seeing that man with a suit on reminded me my dad wore a suit. It's really shame. I'm ashamed to admit this. I never noticed my dad wore a suit. We take wonderful things for granted. It took a stranger to remind me of my own heritage, my own family. So then all of a sudden I'm proud of my dad wearing a suit to make payroll on Friday and go to church on Bible study on Sunday and wear a suit to church on Sunday morning. And all of a sudden I wanted to wear a suit, so I didn't have any money. So my mother made my suits. He was crushed velvet, purple, velour suits with a ruffled shirt and a big bow tie. I got beat up every day. And I had a briefcase, nothing in it, but I had a briefcase. And I didn't have any inventory, I didn't have any money, so I would sell things that didn't cost any inventory, mostly mail order like Stacey Adams shoes and jewelry and things that I could do through mail order. And my confidence rose as my teachers invested in my dream. And I'm an entrepreneur today because of that experience when I was 10. I meet a payroll today because of that experience when I was 10. My payroll is $300,000 every 2 weeks. Payroll trained your mind. And I have not missed a payroll in 22 years.
Amen.
I happen to believe the best philanthropy is a job. Folks don't need a handout. They need a hand up. And there's nothing wrong with us other than we didn't get the memo. Let me let that sit with you for a moment. We didn't get the memo if you came from Africa. We didn't get the memo in Africa. You came from Latin America, you didn't get the memo in Latin America. Any place where folks are striving and thriving without proper information, you never got the memo. I'm not sure you know what the memo is, but let me bring this around. When I was 10 years old, I discovered the memo. The check cash next to the payday loan lender, next to the rent-to-own store, next to the title lender, next to the liquor store, that was not racism. That was target marketing. Don't take it personal. It's bad business, it's predatory business, but it's business. They were simply targeting a 500 credit score customer. I was going to rob them of their customer, starting with me. The fact that nobody in my neighborhood even noticed that anything was wrong offended me. To not have a bank account and to not understand the global language of money, financial literacy, is to be an economic slave. You think slavery ended? Really? To not have a bank account, 40 million people in the richest country in the world don't have a bank account in America today. And to not, and Vine City has a 350 average credit score. I didn't even know it went that low. To not have a bank account and to not understand the language of money is to be an economic slave. You will never be free.
Exactly. Killed it.
Let me now put this into a context, and I want to get to the, really, I believe, the star of the show, which is my sister, my friend, Dr. Bernice A. King. Let me see if I can contextualize this. We didn't get the memo wherever you came from as an immigrant, unless you were very lucky. Where did junior achievement come from, by the way? And by the way, this is a compliment to junior achievement. It came from agrarian farmers who said, I want to teach my children how the free enterprise system works so they can go and run my farm, my business. So junior achievement the program came from agrarian farmers starting clubs, economic clubs, to teach their children how the economic system works so they can go and run the family business. But we've never had that model for poor people or in inner cities or low-wealth communities. So let me now put this in historical context. Let me be clear about this. This is not about black people. This is not about brown people. This is not about Hispanics, Native American Indians. Whether you're black, white, red, brown, or yellow, today you want to see some more green.
Amen.
There's more poor white people in America than poor anybody else. I don't care what anybody tells you. We're all in this mess together. Number two,